Welcome, my beautiful soul sisters, to a brand new episode. Today, my heart is feeling a lot of toil and trouble and anxiety, and I wanted to connect with my beautiful soul sisters for those of us who have a hard time coping with everyday anxiety and overwhelm. And I hope that my vulnerability will connect with you. And yeah, please just stick around here. I'm so grateful for you. And please head over to iTunes and leave Awaken You with Shelly Bond a 5-star review and a rating. It means the universe to me. You are now listening to Awaken You with Shelly Bond. Welcome to my show where we explore ourselves. We talk about growth, healing, breath, life, yoga, failures and successes, intuition, inspiration, fears, manifestation, books, writing, motivation, food, parenting, inner child work, mindfulness. What are your thoughts? My love for healing with energy work, learning how to love myself, forgive myself, and know my own self-worth. I have a deep well inside to hold space and connect with women. And I have learned that awakening is for us all, especially for those of us who think that it's not. Waking up to our life's flaws and all is possible because, my friends, life is a practice. It's not a perfect. I'm having one of those days, or maybe even it's weeks, where it's like this constant state of frazzle in my heart chakra, my anahata chakra, and my throat chakra. And I don't know if it's just like these self-limiting beliefs of that my kids don't listen to me and that things are hard, but they're feeling hard. My kids are feeling like ultimate testers and frustrators. And I always feel like every year they get older, I have this like somehow false perception that it's going to get easier. It's going to get easier. But I feel like that's such this, maybe it's a way I have been protecting myself and helping myself from year to year, because it doesn't get easier. It doesn't. It just, there's like new trials and tribulations with every year. And now my kids are all getting big. This is like so crazy that my daughter is 12 and a half and she's really close to 13. And I have a bunch of nephews who are all teenagers, and there's so many things. And I think that a lot of times when this resistance arises within me, that maybe there's these parts of myself that when I was that age that I didn't feel like I could express, or things where I felt like stopped and trapped. Like today, my daughter, or like every day for the past year, has been so freaking emotional. Like, I mean, I'm emotional, and I want my kids to be emotional. Like, yes, be emotional. Allow yourself to have all of the emotions. But when the guiding force of her way of being from the second she wakes up until she goes to bed is this just like overwhelming sadness or commanding and anger. And if things don't go her way, she just like breaks down crying. And I know she has so many hormones raging through her system. She has all of this estrogen probably that she doesn't know what to do with. And it is a freaking struggle. And today we were working after she had this massive breakdown, and then I freaked out on her because I felt like I couldn't deal with the way that she was acting. It was really hard. And then she finally calmed down, which she always does. She always calms down. I think I calmed down too. And she's just like such a little spiritual bubble. And she was like, well, Mama, I feel like I need an acronym. I need an acronym to help me. And then I asked her to grab her journal, and she did. And Junie's main affirmation has always been, I am love. And no matter how hard it is for her to write or spell, it's beautiful. She can always write I-A-M-L-O-V-E, I am love. And she can actually write I am compassion. She can write lots of amazing things. And we try to come up with an acronym for love. And I'm like trying to sit here thinking of what it was. We came up with an acronym for love and for heart. And it was so awesome because as we're sitting here, like trying to come up with all of these words, and she was saying that she feels like it's so hard to speak her truth and that she can never speak her truth, which I feel like so many of us have that great challenge. Like I even have that challenge sometimes, and I've really been working at overcoming that. And I really feel like my kids are always like my freaking greatest teachers, even though in the moments I don't realize it. I'm like trying to think of if I were to make up an acronym to help us as women, to help us when we're struggling. I have like a pen here. I'm trying to think of H for heart, hold space. H, hold space for yourself and what you're experiencing instead of shutting it off. E, enjoy. Enjoy the ride. A lot of times we shut down our ability to enjoy things because we have become such these serious human doings instead of human beings. Enjoy the ride. Enjoy it no matter what. E-A, allow this moment to unfold. And if allow doesn't resonate, accept. If you can't allow, maybe you can just move to acceptance, accepting that this moment is here happening for us, not to us. H-E.A.R. Rest. Actually, that was one of Junie's, is rest. So even if you're in this like really challenging moment and you are feeling so overwhelmed with your kids or your spouse or your work or life in general, what can you do for a moment to rest or reset? Whether it's taking a big, beautiful breath into your belly, melting your shoulders away from the ears, exhaling. Maybe it's just taking a moment to close your eyes, right? Coming back to that holding space, allowing or accepting, enjoying this moment. H-E-A-R-T. T was think new thoughts. Think new thoughts. So if you're having a really challenging time, the odds are the thoughts of the mind are running rampant and they're telling us all of this crazy stuff. Just like my daughter this morning, she was telling herself that it's so hard to speak her truth. No one ever listens to her. People don't accept her the way she is. And then I brought awareness to your thoughts. Well, what thoughts are you thinking in those moments when those things are happening? And one of my many spiritual mentors, Louise Hay, taught me that if I'm thinking a thought right now and I don't want it to come true, then I need to change that thought. So the last of that acronym of H.E.A.R.T would be to think a new thought. And it can be really helpful for whatever we're struggling with to flip that switch. So if it's like with Junie, I was helping her, bringing her awareness to those thoughts of that no one ever listens to her and it's really hard to speak her truth. And we switched and flipped that script and we started writing affirmations for her that she's now going to start writing every day. Was that it is easy to speak my truth from my heart. It's easy to speak my truth from my heart. And just notice that, like how it can go from a moment and like all this toil and to noticing that and then realigning. And then her other one is that people don't accept her. And which that was just like also like a dagger to the heart. Like, oh my gosh, I work so hard on acceptance, but that's part of her journey. And then we flipped that script, that affirmation to people accept me just the way I am. People accept me just the way I am. And I know this has been coming up a lot with the women in my life, especially my sisters and other close like soul family, is our ideas of our body image or our just in general, our body image and the struggle that we as women have in our body image when it just like breaks my heart, and the self-limiting and self-destructive thoughts that I hear from my sisters, my soul sisters, soul family, and just people around me of that the comment of I'm fat, I'm ugly, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough. And even like that is a mental image that we hold upon ourselves. And I know for me, my self-limiting belief from long ago was that I am chubby. And no matter how many years I work on that, right? It's so interesting. Like I get so fit and there are those moments, and it mostly has to do with my stomach, my midsection. And I have always been very tall for my age, very big feet. Like when I was in 6th grade, I wore a woman size 9. I was wearing, I don't even know what size pants, but I was just always bigger boned. And as a woman, like I embrace that. I love my big body and my Viking bones. Like I understand more of like my ancestral heritage and my body type. But as a little girl, when the image, I'm trying to think of, I'm 39 now. So, probably starting at like 9 or 10, 30 years ago, was that we needed to be skinny. This perspective has to change. I loathe hearing this, and I actually went to, I don't even know what it was called. It was called the Summit in Windsor, Colorado. And it's like this awesome, like fun place for bowling and laser tag and all sorts of crazy arcade things that make me want to pass out. But I went for my nephew's birthday and I saw this little girl who was probably like 12 or 13, about my daughter's age. And I saw her and I could see her sucking in her tummy and holding her hand on her stomach. And it just like that moment, like I just had so much compassion for her because I know that feeling. I know that feeling of judging yourself and like a certain space on your body. Like, oh my gosh, people are looking at me. And she had like a little midriff shirt. So she was making sure she was standing up extra straight. And it was like so sad to see as an adult too. And like, with all of the knowledge of the human body, like remembering that all of our integral internal organs lay in the space of our freaking torso, that this is a space that we cannot have as this like thin little sucked in space because we need to take up space. We have all of the functions of our body. And somehow in society and in young girls' minds and in my minds, and I know my sisters, that we were so ingrained with that we needed to be skinny. And even now, like the word skinny makes my skin crawl. Like I can't even deal with that word. And same with the word fat. Like I think that is such this horrible word. And when I hear, like I've heard it from my freaking 8-year-old say that. Like months ago, it was the weirdest thing. He just started bawling at nighttime and he was calling himself fat and saying that he needed to be skinny like his cousin. He has one cousin who's just really thin and just like ripped. Like he's just like a thin, ripped little guy, and that's just his body type. And it was just like, oh my God, like where did this come from? But it's here and it's showing up. All of this body image stuff is showing up, and I'm here talking about this, just bringing awareness to the way that we're thinking, right? I was like, this is rounding back to that acronym, that last one of what are we thinking to ourselves about ourselves? What are we speaking to ourselves about our body image? Because I know for many years, and I still have my slip ups of when I'm looking in the mirror, I'm saying those degrading thoughts in the mind. Like, it's been about 5 weeks, I've had this weird little like kind of skin rash on my eyes, and it started on my eyelids, and I thought maybe it was from my mascara. And it's slowly like just transferred just around my skin, and it's really light, and it's this little soft rash, red rash, and I thought that it was going to disappear when I had my skin cleanse, and it almost did, and then it just like reappeared, and it went from my eyelids, and now it's crept around to the bottoms of my eyes around. And I'm really embracing myself and loving myself, flaws and all, right? And even these wrinkles that are popping up on my eyes and my cheeks, and these spriggling sprouts of gray hairs growing in. It's like moving from this way of thinking our body always needs to be this certain way, and this negative, degrading self-talk that is crippling women, that is literally stopping women from doing things. And I'm here showing up, bringing our awareness to what is our inner talk. In yoga, a lot of teachers use the mantra of Soham, Soham. It's spelled like Soham, like Soham. Some people say Soham, Soham, Soham. And that is the mantra of I am that. I am that I am. And bringing this huge awareness to what are our I ams. I talk about this all of the time if you've been listening with me. I don't just say this lightheartedly. I say this because our I ams are Soham mantra is so crucial to the way that we're living our lives and the way that we're feeling and the way that we're acting. And if our inner mantra is, I'm not good enough, I'm too fat, I'm not pretty enough, if we are looking in the mirror, like banging on our body constantly, saying horrible things constantly, then that is going to transmute into everything. Like I did recently watch the movie The Secret, which I hadn't seen in forever. And it's kind of like a lot of spiritual people say, it's like a beginner's guide to manifesting. And just ask yourself this question. If you are thinking this thought, right? I just said this about Louise Hay, and you do not want it to come true, you need to change that thought. You need to change that frequency, change that radio station. Just like if you are listening to a song that you do not resonate with, like change that channel. You do not have to stay stuck with the freaking thoughts that are just sabotaging the brain. That, my beautiful soul sisters, our mind is in our reach. It's in our power. And with the practice of breath work, of breathing in and out, exhaling, when we bring awareness to our breath, it is actually allowing a slowing of thoughts, an unraveling of thoughts. And that's why for me, yoga has been just such this integral practice. And yoga is not just the physical movement, asana portion of doing downward facing dogs to chaturangas and all of the things. Yoga is the practice of like the inner reflection. It's not a religion. I remember when I first started practicing yoga, I thought, this is some weird culty practice. And then the deeper I dove, I was like, oh no, it's not. You've got this deeper understanding. And, you know, depending on what type of practice you have, it can be different. But for me, yoga is this deeper inner reflection. It's this deeper knowingness and understanding of ourselves. It's bringing awareness to who we really are, to our birthright I ams of I am love and I am compassion and I am forgiveness. Like when we think of our life as this like whole totality of life, think of everything. Like what is the primal purpose of life? It's like a deep question. These deep questions getting us deep into these internal reflecting spaces. This is yoga. Like what is life really about? Is it really about everything we've conquered and succeeded at? How amazing we are, how beautiful, how fit, what our body looks like, what shoe size we are, what our house, our boat, our car, what is it? Is it that? Or is it our connections? Is it love? Is it connecting through love, allowing forgiveness, being open to change like nature? Nature is always just such a beautiful reflection of ourselves. And we couldn't survive without these trees, these beautiful, vibrant, loving, amazing, selfless trees. That when we look at these trees are not judging themselves. They are not judging each other, that they openly embrace the changing of the seasons. I'm freaking excited because tomorrow I am going to be helping collaborate a women's circle. And it is going to be in Fort Collins, and it's harnessing the power of summer energy. And it's a women's circle. And we are gathering in one of my new soul sisters' backyards. And there are 4 of us, amazing women. And another one of them is my sister Jenny, who is a holistic transformational coach. And another one is Caitlin Bosshart, who is this beautiful soul that we met on this women's retreat that my sister and I went to over a month ago. And she's also just a spiritual, beautiful bubble, a yoga instructor and a life coach. And then this other beautiful woman, Jennifer Grogan, I think it is, which, long story short, she actually was one of my dad's first students when he taught at Fort Collins High School. And she's this beautiful, amazing, intuitive woman who has clairaudient senses, so she can like kind of communicate with spirit. And she's also been a massage therapist for 26 years. She's a master honey maker and herbalist. Amazing. She calls herself a green witch. And then there's me, and we are collaborating this beautiful women's circle. And it's going to be this 3-hour kind of session where we come together and each of us women shares kind of a little bit of our love and healing, bringing it together in a circle format, which I started doing women's circles, I'm trying to think of, was it 5 years ago? It was about 5 years ago. And I've been in women's circles since then. And I'm really excited about this one because it's just this like new energy and this new collaboration. And I'm really excited because I am putting together kind of like my own compilation of just all of these amazing teachers and ceremonies that I have personally done. And I've created my own practice, and it's going to embody meditation, breath work, thought awareness, energy healing, and I'm going to be using a lot of sound healing, and I'm using 4 different types of modalities. We're going to be using tuning fork healing, vibrational frequency shifting, and I have this beautiful heart chakra white quartz singing bowl, and I also have a small intuitive chakra metal singing bowl. And then I'm going to be bringing in my buffalo drum, and my sister also has a drum. And oh my gosh, this drumming is something like the vibration of the buffalo drum. I just can't even describe. I'm going to share it with you here. This drum is going to be one of the healing modalities that I'm going to practice and use. And so amazing and primal. And I feel like this deep connection with this drum. And it's this beautiful, like 23-inch round, circular, white buffalo hide stretched drum. And in this practice, maybe I will just guide you a little bit. So wherever you are, maybe you could just tune in with your awareness. Close your eyes, soften your gaze. If you are in a space, if you are driving, maybe pause here or just listen with an open, expansive gaze, keeping your focus on the road, bringing awareness to the inhale, melting the shoulders away, and exhale with a sigh. Bringing the breath into the belly, growing. Letting go. And bringing our awareness to those tight, tense spaces. As we welcome that breath to those tight, tense spaces, we welcome you, breath. We exhale, welcoming your breath as one of your greatest powers, and knowing that breath is here to guide you. And when it feels tense or tight, you welcome that breath. You open to those resistance, to those resisting spaces. And here we look to nature. We look to summer. And we see all of the beauty and the fullness and the expansion and the colors of summer. And we open to seeing that within ourselves. We see how summer, how it is the light and the darkness, how this beautiful shining sun shines in all spaces and corners, how it brings so much earthly colors and vibrancy. And here we open to healing our sacred Soham, our sacred I am, our sacred I am that I am. With that inhale, we mantra Soham. 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 I am that I am. 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 I am healing. I am love. I am abundance. I am kind. I am compassion. Soham. Soham. I am that I am. I am healing. I am love. I am good enough. I am strong enough. My body is the right size. I am expansive. I am open. I am connecting. Breathe that breath in. Let it go. We open to healing our I ams, our sacred Soham mantra. We look to nature. We open to the healing power of summer, to this powerful vibration of this drum, these primal sounds of the earth that tie us to Mother Earth in all of her beauty and all of her strength. We open to healing parts of ourselves that we are holding on to. We open this tension and resistance, and we allow these healing vibrations to move us, to surpass us, to cause a ruckus, to rumble the darkness. We open, we expand, we heal. Allow, open. I am that I am. I am that I am. I am healing. I am love. Soham. 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 Whisper, speak, or think with me. Soham 4 times. Inhale. Soham. 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 And together we inhale love for ourselves. We exhale love around us. We bring our palms, kissing palms, to the third eye or to the heart chakra. We honor and acknowledge the love and the light within us, and we honor and acknowledge it within those around us. Namaste. Thank you so much. Intuitively, it's funny, I wasn't even planning that. This drum, though, it is so freaking magical, and I am just so looking forward to holding this space and creating new sisterhoods and healing on these deeper levels of ourselves. Because, right, like this resistance that is settling in our guts, in our tummies, in our legs, and maybe manifesting into physical forms, like it's usually growing and multiplying and getting worse. And we, as a collective of women, have to do something about this. We have to do better for our daughters. We have to do better for our nieces, for the little tiny infants that are being born right as we speak, for their children's children. We have to heal ourselves to help heal the collective consciousness of women, of our aunts, our mothers, our grandmothers' mothers, all of our feminine ancestry. That when we do practices like this, when we heal ourselves, we help heal the collective of the world. And we are the change that we wish to see in the world. And in the moment, sometimes you don't even realize how much inner tension and turmoil we're holding on to. And something like sound healing vibration is so incredible because we just need to be and show up with this openness, with this open space. Because, right, if we show up to something and we're feeling shut down and we're feeling tight and closed, nothing's going to happen. But when we can show up with just an openness or a curiosity of what healing is, right? This is our journey. It's part of the journey, is embracing and walking into the darkness. Walking into the darkness. I feel like so many of us are afraid of the darkness. I know that for the longest time that I repelled darkness and it would scare me. And knowing that we all have equal parts of light and darkness, just like the sun and the moon. Just like in yoga, we have our Pingali Nadi, which is our solar, our masculine energies, and our Ida Nadi, which is our feminine and our dark energies in ourselves. And when we can bring our breath and allow alignment, like we align that light and darkness, because right, life is not all just like sunshine and rainbows and butterflies, which is like what our inner child wants, what she craves. That we have to teach her that our inner child who's inside, and she's probably wounded and maybe curled up in a ball in the corner, which gives me goosebumps, like deep inside of ourselves, that if we can help hold space for that darkness, for her pain, that we create healing, like healing that we never knew existed. We allow this love and this acceptance in, and we heal parts of ourselves that we never knew were possible. That like healing is not this endpoint. I feel like a lot of us, like I know me, for the longest time, I thought that healing only came from doctors and medicine, and that I only needed to get healed if I was sick, like had an ear infection or a sinus infection, would get a doctor and a prescription. And I shortly found out, wow, like, well, there's certainly so much more to healing. And it's so interesting when it comes to energetic and healing deeper energy parts of ourselves. Like that's something that most of us don't even like think of, because it's not a thinking thing, it's a feeling thing. And for me as a healer, that I have experienced so many emotional, physical, even spiritual shifts when I'm doing sound healing, just like with this drum, like just allowing yourself to be in the presence of the vibrations, the frequencies of the drum, or different healing modalities, like even our voice when we're singing that so and knowing that you don't have to be a singer to mantra. Mantras are healing. They're these healing sacred words. And so Sanskrit mantras have been mantraed for thousands of years. And that's why they're so powerful. They have this collective power behind them. And this powerful healing mantra is just the primordial sound of the universe, which is just Om, O-M. Everyone knows Om. I feel like even every kid, if they're not taking it serious or not, or every Star Wars lover knows Om in meditation. And Om is just a deep inhale in. Om. And it's actually that pause at the end of the Om that is the most healing. It was like 4 years ago where I was like oming all of the time. I would om in my head. I would whisper. I would speak it to myself. When I was struggling, I would just om, 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 om. And right, this is rounding back to those thoughts, to your sacred Soham mantra. Whoops, man down. It was my drumming instrument. That we can shift the way that we're thinking with so many different practices. Affirmations are a great start. Affirmations, though, have been spoken. They have to be spoken at least, usually it can take up to 300 times for us to say an affirmation or a new thought and believe it as our truth. And I went through many of years of affirming that I couldn't believe any of what I was saying, but I was doing it. And even if you don't believe it at first, you have to start where you are. And that where you are is here and now. It's here and now. It's today. It's not tomorrow. It's not next week. It's not the day after. It's not next year. It's not when the kids go back to school. It's not when, after this, after that. It is now. And it starts now. Your healing of your inner self-talk, of your inner I am that I ams, it starts now. So whatever your biggest struggle is, if it's that body image and being really mean and hard on yourself about perhaps your changing body or aging body or whatever it is that we have to heal our inner world, because we can try to fix everything on the outside, but if we are not healing in our inner realm, our inner emotional state, our inner spiritual state, that life is just going to creep back up, and that it can look perfect and beautiful and amazing on the outside, but if we're not doing the inner work, like that is, we're just causing more and more pain. And my beautiful soul sisters, that we have to explore. We have to journey through our pain, into the darkness inside of us. We have to allow it. And even when these physical illnesses arise, if you didn't listen to last week's episode about resistance, please listen. I share a lot. I had this like really crazy like dehydration, but also like necessary healing when my body was like dizzy and I couldn't get out of bed and I had this horrible headache, but innately my body was making me pause so I could do healing work. And thinking of healing, when we have like a really bad headache or feeling ill, we want to be in a cool, calm, dark place, right? You have a headache, you're not looking right into the sun, being around 1,000 people. You want calm and quiet, cool darkness, knowing that the darkness isn't scary. It's not this place that we have to run and hide from. The darkness is where we can go to retreat and rest and replenish. The darkness is where our healing journey begins. The darkness it's embracing the pain and not shoving it down or wronging ourselves or blaming ourselves or other people. Not allowing that victim mentality to creep back in, because it likes to come in. And I see it and I hear it a lot, and I see it so much in my kids, and it's struggling because I feel like I have really let go of that victim mentality in my life. My kids are in the background, but these little ones, it's like the universe is testing me again. Like, oh yeah, you've let go of that. Oh, now you need to work on your kids. Now you need to teach it to them. So it's like we can find these spaces in ourselves. And I feel like too, we just have to be the change. We have to be the leader, like they will follow our lead. We have to just keep showing up and leading the way. And even in the moments where it's hard and we don't know what we're doing and navigating is like, oh my gosh, just show up and do your best, because you're doing your best. I know you are. We are all showing up and doing our best. And even like I said, leaning into that resistance and holding space for the resistance and the pain. And if you did listen to last week's practice, I really wanted to do a check-in. Did you notice resistance? Did you hold space for it instead of pushing it away? Were you allowing yourself permission to show up and be human and be perfectly imperfect? Were you showing up for those messy, yucky moments and not just like the happy ones where it's like, oh, I can take a picture here and post it on my social media? Were you showing up for that yuck and that muck and that goo of life? Because I have been feeling like I have been wallowing a lot in the goo. But I've been just showing up for it and showing up and moving and holding space for myself. And the more I hold space for myself, the more healing unfolds, the more I'm allowing and I'm opening, and I'm not just like shutting it off. And being a healer for me doesn't mean I have it all figured out and that I am all the way miraculously healed, my sisters, because we are never going to wake up a day and say, I am healed, my journey is over. That healing is a journey, it's not an endpoint, which is something that was such this false perception that I held onto. And that one day I would wake up and I would be like, dang, I have all of the answers. I know exactly what I'm doing and where I'm going. And that was one of those lies. That was another one of those false perceptions, those self-limiting beliefs, the lies of my inner mantra, of my inner soham, that we have to just show up, and that it's okay to not always have the answers and to not always know, right? Riding this wave, this huge journey for me too has been allowing the fear of the unknown and just being with that. And this was really beautiful because I've been studying in my 300-hour yoga teacher training right now about fear, and that fear arises because it's an underlying fear of death. Like we all, especially in Western culture, we have this huge, huge fear of death, like huge. Like I know that feeling of, I see my kids doing something dangerous and I will lose legitimate sensation in my fingers and my toes and my feet, and I feel like I'm going to pass out. Or social anxiety. Isn't it so weird? If I am around a giant crowd of strangers that I don't know, I will feel like that fear of death creeping in. And this is, again, like not judging ourselves, just holding space for that fear. Like, where does that fear come from? Maybe exploring that fear. My son Jack is back here. He is just creeping on me, and that's fine. I'm just showing up, and joy is under my feet. That this fear of death or fear of the unknown, that this is something that we can just start leaning into or getting curious of, like, why is this here? Like, is this something that belongs to me? That, right, life doesn't equal death. Is it life, death, rebirth, expansion? What is it? There's so many different aspects when it comes to talking about and exploring death and where that deep-seated fear comes from. And it all depends on our journey and where we are at. And it's just beginning with this noticing of that fear and where it's coming from, and releasing our need to judge ourselves for these emotions and for these feelings. Like when that social anxiety hits me hard, like I can get so trapped in fear and judgment, and it hits me like a ton of bricks, and then it makes me feel like I just want to run. I want to like sprint away. It's that fight, flight, or freeze response. Like I'm more in that flight response where I'm like, peace, I'm out. But before that comes is like that wicked rise of anxiety. And I am so grateful that I have so many practices that help me cope with anxiety when it's coming up. Like it comes up pretty much every day. Like I think as a mom, it's pretty common to experience anxiety. And I think a huge thing that we can do for ourselves is to notice it. And when you actually notice that, oh my gosh, this is anxiety. This anxiety is coming up. And maybe the anxiety is coming up because of fear. And then what if we can come back to those practices? I was trying to think of those practices of that H.E.A.R.T acronym that I came up with my daughter. H, hold space. Hold space for that anxiety. Don't shove it down. Don't shame yourself or blame yourself or anyone else or the situation. Hold space for it. E, enjoy it. Just enjoy it. Be open to that. Maybe you can enjoy that anxiety. You're like, Shelly, how am I supposed to enjoy it? Sometimes I feel like you can move from enjoying to an energy scan. So just tuning in, where are you feeling energy or tension in your body? And again, coming back to that holding space for that feeling, for that anxiety that's arising or whatever is coming up. And then moving to the A of heart is either allowing or accepting, whatever resonates more with you, is allowing that feeling to come up, allowing it, you're holding space for it, right? You are sometimes, I don't really even know if enjoy is the right word, because there are moments where it feels so tight, and enjoying, I feel like, could be the furthest thing from it. But if you can get to a space of allowing that energy to roll through you, allowing it or accepting it, like accepting this moment is here because I need to experience this. I have this lovely quote I just got for my house. I got all these really awesome, like powerful quotes to put around my house. And one of them is, the pain I'm feeling today is the strength I'm experiencing tomorrow. Yeah, right. Think of that. The pain that I'm feeling today is my strength I experience tomorrow. And then the R in heart is rest, And maybe that's replenish. Maybe that's taking a breath. That's checking into what are your self-care practices that can help you in this moment. Maybe it's taking that big breath, exhaling. Maybe it's really bringing that deep awareness to what's going on, or maybe it's finding a movement in your body, or there's something called EFT tapping, the emotional freedom tapping, and something I do. And when emotional, like anxiety, social anxiety is coming to me, as I hug myself. So you can give yourself that hug, that self-compassion, and you can just start here with a hug and see if that helps and if that feels good. And maybe just say, I'm giving you so much compassion for feeling this way. And then if that's not working, I like to piggyback my self-help tools, and then I'll start butterfly tapping, just like you're patting on each arm. And then you could just say something like, I am struggling right now. Like, this is really hard, and I'm holding space for you, Shelly. And so, right, you can backpack your self-help tools in that R of heart, of like rest or replenish is, right, you can breathe. Bring big awareness to yourself. Bring big love by giving yourself a hug. You can tap on your arms and talk to yourself. Give yourself that self-compassion talk, that self-acknowledging talk. And then the last part of the heart is T, your thoughts. Like, what are the thoughts that you are thinking about this moment? Are you sabotaging yourself and telling yourself, oh my gosh, this is so scary. There's all of these people. I don't know any of them. They're judging me, or whatever it is. No one accepts me the way that I am. People are always against me, whatever it is. And then realign those thoughts. So I'm going to real quick do a little wrap up of this is going to be your self-care practice, is to do this heart. And maybe you want to write this down, or I'm going to put it in the little notes of the description of the show today. Heart, H, hold space for yourself. E, enjoy this experience. Or you can do an energy scan, that tension scan. Where are you feeling like that collection? And where are you feeling it at in your body? A, you can allow or accept this experience. Allow it. It's coming. It's like a wave. You're opening. You're just allowing it. R, you can rest or replenish your self-care practice. What is it? That breath, holding yourself, giving yourself words of affirmation, tapping on your arms, giving yourself that self-compassion talk. And then thoughts, T, your thoughts. What are your thoughts? Realign them. Realign them in the positive present tense. So, right, instead of I'm struggling, this is so hard, you could say, it is so easy to be here and connect with people on a heart level. I'm here for a reason. The universe has brought me to this very moment for a reason, even if I don't know it. Oh, my beautiful sisters, I'm so grateful for you in this space and you showing up with me here. This is just like my dream and part of my dharma. My life's purpose is to connect with women and to just share what's on my heart and to speak it out and to speak it into existence. And my beautiful lovelies, I'm looking forward to, I'm going to share all about my women's circle, which is harnessing the power of summer energy. And if you are in this Front Range area and want to join this women's circle, this will be airing actually on the day of the women's circle. It's from 5 to 8 p.m. Check out my Facebook or Instagram. On Facebook, Shelly Bond. Instagram, Awaken You, Shelly Bond, for more information. And yeah, I just look so forward to connecting and growing and just holding space for women to heal, because like we all need this space. And I really do feel like that everyone needs a sister. And whether or not, if you have a sister or not, like there's so many soul sisters out there. And I know as women, a lot of women put up this guard and they guard themselves from other women because they've been harmed. But this does not have to be your inner talk anymore. This does not have to be the sad story that plays in your mind, that there are women that can help you and come together with you. And even if you have a partner, like our partner can't do it all for us. We need to have more. We crave this connection. And through sisterhood, like we can do this together, that we can come together as women and connect each other and hold space. And it's so uplifting and so empowering. And words are not enough to describe it. It's something that all women need. We need to be a part of a sisterhood. And that's what I'm doing here, showing up and collaborating. I love you. Head over to iTunes, please, and leave me a 5-star rating and a review. It means the universe to me. You can find my book, Awaken You, Shelly Bond, on Amazon. And there's a whole chapter about compassion and self-compassion and self-talk. I mean, my whole book, it's all about the way you think and love and live and breathe. And it's such a powerful book. And if you haven't gotten a copy, you can get one. And shortly, my audiobook, it's almost done, my audiobook. So if you're waiting for that audiobook, it is on its way. I love you. I'm so grateful for you. And please share this with people or women that you love or women that you just feel they need it. They need a pick me up. And I will be back here hanging out with you next week. I'm so grateful for you. I love you, my beautiful soul sisters.